After entering the hall, the host and guest took a seat, and immediately some disciples offered tea and fruit plates, extremely diligent. Yixian and Yang Yan didn't follow here, so Qiantong and others were no longer restrained. They drank tea and praised again and again, and their tone was full of admiration for High Heaven sect today and its future. After a long time, Yang Kai smiled brilliantly and brought the topic to the main topic. Although this is a bit abrupt, the younger generation still wants to ask, before the Emperor Jade appeared, how many pieces does each of the sects of the seniors received? Qiantong and Feijitu's eyes flashed, and they pondered for a moment. Boy, you are not an outsider. Brother Mo and me have been with each other for hundreds of years. We know each other thoroughly. If someone asks this, the old man will definitely not answer, but since it is you who ask. Well, my Shadow Moon Palace has worked hard and only grabbed 2 pieces in total. With that said, he turned his head and looked at Mo Yu again, who smiled. Although my Clean Sky sect is far away from where the Emperor Garden was originally located, I was lucky. There was a piece of Emperor Jade that fell near the sect. The other elders in the door stopped it, and Mo also got a piece by chance. It is also 2 pieces, equal to the number of Shadow Moon Palace. On the other side, Dai Yuan lightly opened her lips. I don't know how many there are in the colored glass sect. But listening to the honored master, it just doesn't seem to be much. It's only 1 or 2 pieces. Yang Kai nodded lightly. The news was similar to what he had predicted. When the Emperor Jade was born, the first piece of Emperor Jade fell on Dragon Cave Mountain and broke through the mountain guarding formation of Dragon Cave Mountain. He quickly climbed and took it. Then when he came to Flowing Flame Sand Field, he teamed up with Yang Yan and Yixian to block another piece of Emperor Jade. Although they went to chase, but there was no gain, only a lot of time was wasted. In other words, he also only has 2 pieces of Emperor Jade. Emperor Jade is a pass to enter the Emperor Garden. It is used to resist the Emperor prestige. A piece of Emperor Jade can only guarantee that one person can enter it safely. The number of is so scarce in the sects. When the Emperor Garden is really opened, who should be entering it? There will definitely be a fight and disputes over it. Needless to say, of the Third Order Void Return stage, the name of the Emperor Garden is too big, and they expect to enter it more than anyone, seeking their own opportunities, to see if they can break through to the Void King realm. The younger generation of disciples can't be left behind. After all, every young disciple of the sect is the hope of the sect's future. To let them enter it for some experience, it is definitely good for future growth. It's just that the number of places to enter is limited. How to choose when the time comes depends on the opinions of the major sects. Yang Kai estimates that the older generation will lead the younger generation to walk together. Hey, although the Emperor Jade is good in this world, it has caused a bloody storm on the Shadowed Star. It seems that many small forces and small families have been wiped out during this period, all because of this Emperor Jade. Qiantong sighed, slowly shook his head. Every husband is not guilty, but he bears the sin of crime. Some small sects and small families had good luck and got the Emperor Jade, but unfortunately, if the news leaked, they would naturally be targeted by the strong, which would lead to the disaster of destruction. In addition, the Emperor Jade has become the most sought-after treasure nowadays, and some cultivators who have no backing have obtained the Emperor Jade. Knowing that his strength is low, or he is unwilling to take risks with his body, he intends to sell the Emperor Jade. This naturally attracted countless people rushing to grab it. Now the price of a piece of Emperor Jade has been coaxed to hundreds of millions of Saint crystals. Even so, it is still in short supply. Which sect does not want to have one more place? This is different from Flowing Flame Sandfield. After Flowing Flame Sandfield is opened, only cultivators under the Void Return stages can enter, but the Emperor Garden does not have this restriction. It can be said, the Emperor Jade suddenly appeared, causing the entire Gloomy Star to fight hard, and the dark tide was surging. Although there are only 2 Emperor Jade in the Shadow Moon Palace now, it does not mean that only 2 people will enter in the future. Maybe if they are lucky enough to buy other Emperor Jade, they can increase the number of places people can enter. All kinds of thoughts flashed in his mind, and Xianxia said again, then dared to ask everyone, do you know what the Emperor Jade is for? Qiantong smiled slightly, stretched out his hand and touched his own space ring. A palm-sized white jade token appeared in his hand. It was a piece of Emperor Jade, and he calmly said, although I have never used this thing before, but according to the speculation of the elders of my Shadow Moon Palace, this Emperor Jade is probably the key to open the Emperor Garden and the pass to enter it. Speaking like this, the Saint Chi was suddenly poured into it, and a white light burst out of the Emperor Jade, in a circular shape, wrapping Qiantong's palm. The white mask was not big, it was only about half a foot in radius. Oh. It's getting bigger. Qiantong raised his brows and revealed a touch of joy. He seemed to be explaining to Xianxia, and said slowly, when the old man poured Saint Chi into it the other day, the mask was not that big. It seems that the light barrier produced by the Emperor Jade gradually grows larger over time. When it can completely envelop a person, you can probably enter the Emperor Garden safely. Not bad. Mo Yu nodded slightly from the side. Brother Qian's thoughts coincide with Mo. While talking, he took out his own Emperor Jade and poured the Saint Chi into it. The Emperor Jade also shot out a white mask, completely enclosing Mo Yu's palm. The size is the same as that of Qiantong, indistinguishable, almost no difference. Then said, the Emperor prestige emanating from the Emperor Garden is unstoppable. It can only be offset by this Emperor Jade. Otherwise, even if I have higher cultivation level, I will only end up with one fate when getting close to the Emperor Garden. Dead. When the Emperor Garden was first born, nearly 100 powerful people on the Shadowed Star joined forces to try to break through it, but in the end half of them fell under the invisible Emperor's prestige. These days, when the major sect forces on the Shadowed Star are monitoring the movements of the Emperor Garden, they are also thinking about how to dissolve the power of the Emperor prestige, but there is still no good way. The present life of Emperor Jade made this matter a turning point. Mo Yu had the same ideas as Qiantong, and both felt that Xianxia should not understand the matter, so he kindly demonstrated it and gave out his own guesses, but Xianxia knew better than any of them. Xianxia asked them to enter the High Heaven sect, and his intention was to tell them the purpose of the Emperor Jade. Now it seems that he was superfluous. Others are not fools. Naturally, they can infer the truth through some clues. Judging from the increasing speed of the mask size of Emperor Jade, if you want to enter the Emperor Garden safely, it is estimated that you will have to wait at least for half of the year. Qiantong looked up at Xianxia. Xianxia nodded lightly, his expression clear. Half a year is a long buffer period. Major forces can take advantage of this opportunity to purchase more Emperor Jade, make more preparations before entering the Emperor Garden, and increase the level of cultivation, although half a year is not considered enough for most people. It is impossible to grow too much, but for Xianxia, this half-year period is too precious. Now his cultivation is at the third order Saint King stage, and he is only one step away from the Void Return stage. If he is lucky enough and the chances are enough, he can use this 6 months to impact the Void Return stage. As long as he set foot in this field, his strength will be greatly improved. When he enters the Emperor Garden, the safety factor will increase a lot. Secretly made up his mind, Xianxia also said it in the bottom of his heart. He pondered for a while and asked, by the way, when did this Emperor Garden ran to the top of my High Heaven sect again? I wonder what you have discovered before? Qiantong and others looked at each other, and they all smiled bitterly. Fei Jitu said, God knows how it got here. The old man even wondered if you had moved anything, or if any of you had something to do with Emperor Garden, otherwise how could it chase you? Although it was a joke, the corner of Xianxia's eyes twitched. Fei Jitu's words were really correct. The reason why Emperor Garden came after him was probably related to Yang Yan, but this fact could not be said. As for when it happened, it's been about a month. It wasn't long after you left Dragon Cave Mountain. The Emperor Garden was fine on the first day. But the next day, it disappeared. The old man and others were scared and shocked, thinking that the Emperor Garden was gone, and missed this big opportunity for nothing. As a result, there was news that the Emperor Garden had moved to the sky above Flowing Flame Sand Field, and then I ran to take a look. I didn't expect it to be true. Feijitu looked helpless and shook his head constantly, seemingly tossed around by the Emperor Garden. After all, this is the courtyard of the Starry Sky Great Emperor. No one wants it to disappear from sight. So that's the case. Xianxia nodded lightly, and smiled in surprise. It seems that High Heaven Sect and Emperor Garden are quite fated, and they must be tied together wherever they go. Naturally, these words just made everyone here laugh, and did not really mean it. After chatting for a while, Mo Yu's expression suddenly flashed, and he said, "Sect Master Yang, I have something to ask for. I wonder if Sect Master Yang can agree." Xianxia grinned and said heartily, "Senior Mo is polite. Although the kid is the sect master, but after all, he is young. If Senior Mo looks at him as a kid, even if you called him as Xianxia or sect master, he won't really be mad." A faint color flashed in Mo Yu's eyes, and he laughed and looked extremely happy. "Okay, sect master Yang is really a man of temperament, regardless of the trivialities. Your friend, this old man, agreed. Senior is polite." Xianxia was modest. "I just don't know what Senior want to ask of me." Having said that, Xianxia also vaguely guessed what he wanted to say. Mo Yu coughed slightly, and his expression gradually calmed down. "Since the Emperor Garden is above your noble sect, the noble sect is naturally near the water. I don't know if when the Emperor Garden open, you can make my Clean Sky sect people to enter the Emperor Garden from here." Sure enough. It's no different from what he guessed. Now that the Emperor Garden is above the High Heaven sect, if you start from here to enter the Emperor Garden, you will save more than half or a full day than if you start from the outside. With such an opportunity, maybe you can discover more good things. It is precisely because of this consideration that Mo Yu find it a little hard to talk about it. After all, his relationship with Xianxia is not very close, and it is understandable for the other party not to agree to him. To be continued.